this hour. Because I was supposed to speak with Sunshine. And God just touched her heart and let her know I couldn't even speak. Because I couldn't get my message together. And I thought I was going to be well. I thought I felt well. But the Lord said no. Because it wasn't time. And what God spoke to me on that day, he said, and this is for you as well. He said, I am restoring you from brokenness, loneliness, sickness, discouragement, unforgiveness, bitterness, procrastination, and you fill in the blank. Whatever it is, God said he is restoring you from that. Sorrow. And he said because he is preparing us and equipping us for our destiny.
Amen.
And also he says, and I'm not only am I doing this for you, Gail, but I'm doing it for every one of you as well. God says he has prepared us for such a time as this. He said to be restored means to be redeemed from everything and everyone that has caused you to be broken. And every one of us has been broken in some way, form, or fashion. And no pain is greater than the other. Pain is pain in the eyes of God. But God said in his word that he came that we would have life and have it more abundantly. So therefore, I'm here to tell you, get ready. Because help is on the way. And we do not have to live in our brokenness anymore. If we stay there, it's because we choose to stay there. We don't have to stay there. And also, God says in his word, let not your hearts be troubled, because in due season you shall reap if you faint not.
Okay.
So my message today is extreme restoration, because there's a difference between being restored and restoration than extreme restoration. When I think about extreme restoration, I think about wow. I think about God doing something that I could never, ever think or even imagine. And I can give you an example. When I lived in Thurl Farms, that house I was in, over $800,000 a debt. But God.
Okay.
One mortgage, the second he wiped away with debt forgiveness. Can't nobody do that but God.
Amen.
So there is a process when it comes to being restored. And that process is we have to forgive those who have hurt us. And God is saying, bring the broken pieces unto him. And that's why I asked you guys to write down on that sheet of paper what has caused you to be broken. Put it in a box, because we're going to release it and we're going to give it to God. Because when God says in his word to cast his burdens upon him, and I looked up cast, that means to throw. Because he's let us know our backs is not able to carry the burdens that we carry day in and day out. And I figured that out the hard way. So God says that he can and he will restore those areas in our life that we thought were dead. So get ready. Now when I think about the examples, the first example I'm going to share with you is Job. Job 42:10. And in the English Standard Version, it says, and the Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he had prayed for his friends. Because, his friends were saying, well, I can't believe you doing this or whatever. His wife said, you might as well curse God and die. And so Job kind of got angry. So it wasn't until he prayed for his friends, and that is when God restored him. Because he had to forgive them. So what I'm saying is we have to forgive those who have hurt us. It is not easy, but it can be done. Because I'm a living witness. It can be done. And the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. So what that means in Gail's language, he blessed him double for his trouble. And I'm looking for that blessing. Anybody else looking for double for your trouble? I know I am. After all I've been through, I'm looking for double for my trouble.
Amen.
And then the second example is Joseph. Joseph went from the pit to the palace. When I thought about that, I was like, wow. Because with Joseph, in the beginning, God gave Joseph a dream. He shared it with his brothers. He shouldn't have, because his brothers got jealous. And that's when they threw him in the pit. But what the enemy tried to cause for harm, God turned it around for good. Because the brothers thought he was gone. He was dead. And so the situations in his life caused him to develop his character as he went through the various trials and tribulations. That's what happens with us. God gives us a dream, and then all hell breaks loose. And then you're like, Lord, was that you? And then, years and years have passed by, and we still have our dream, but we allow that dream to die. Or we allow somebody to talk us out of that dream. Or we'll even talk ourselves out of our dreams. So, even though Joseph was in the pit, he ended up in the palace. We all have taken Joseph's journey, and we're probably still on that journey. But God, because God is going to restore us. So our journey is coming to an end. We find ourselves, when we're in the journey and when we're in the pit, it's when we're in bondage. When we allow ourselves to become in bondage to people and to things. So you have to be careful who you hook yourself up with. You have to be careful. Also, God will, we can get so caught up in a person and what they're thinking and what they're saying and wanting to be validated by that person until that person will actually separate us from God. We will become numb to what the Lord is telling us. We'll spend less time with God. We'll spend less time praying. We'll spend less time going to church because we're so busy wanting validation from a man or from a woman. Only because of our relationship with God and our commitment to God, that's what keeps us. And I thank God for his word because God says in his word that he engraved us in the palm of his hand. So if we're engraved in the palm of God's hand, nothing or no one can pluck us out of his hand. And that's a blessing.
Yes.
That is truly a blessing.
Hallelujah.
God said he will move in such a way that he will bring us from the pit to the palace. And in order to get from the pit to the palace, you're going to have to go through. You can't have no testimony without a test. You cannot have your character build without going through a crisis. So therefore, get ready. So when you're down in the valley, know that there's a blessing waiting on you when you come out of that valley. And so I've learned when I'm going through, I pray, Lord, give me the strength to make it through this. And I know that in his word he says he don't put nothing on us that we can't bear.
Amen.
So a lot of times I say, Lord, this don't seem fair, but I'm going through it. I know you're going to bring me through it. Because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here if it was too much for me to bear.
Amen.
And the last example is Ruth. One of my favorite books in the Bible. And Ruth went from ruin to restoration. She went from rags to riches. That's what I think about when I think about Ruth. Because I just want to let you know that no matter where you find yourself in life right now, your story is not finished.
Amen.
God is not finished with you.
Amen.
No matter what it looked like.
Amen.
He's not finished with you. Even though when I think back about Joseph, he was in the pit, and he went from the pit to prison and then to the palace. But even though he went from pit, prison to palace, he still had a smile on his face. He still refused to allow his situation to stop him from seeking God and praising God.
Amen.
And Ruth, she went from being a widow to gleaning in a field. Didn't have much to eat. But while she was in that field, God gave her favor with the owner of the field. And not only was he the owner of the field, he was a relative of the mother-in-law. And God gave her favor with the owner of the field. Who? Only God. Out of all the people. And this woman was a Moabitess who didn't even believe in God. So tell me what God won't do.
Amen.
So she went from being a widow to gleaning in the field, where God gave her favor with the owner of the field, who was very wealthy, and like I said, a relative of the mother-in-law. But the best part of the story of Ruth was Boaz fell in love with her. Now this woman went from, like I said, ruin to restoration, to barely not having nothing to eat, to having more than enough, and then this man marrying her. So I'm just blown away with what God can do when it comes to extreme restoration. And everybody is not going to receive this message because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to go through it. Everybody wants to reign with him, but nobody wants to suffer with him. Yes. And that is the thing right there. I mean, people look at you and like, okay, you doing what? You waiting on God to do what? Are you serious? And people, we're living in a microwave generation, especially with these children. They think everything is handed on a silver platter and that everything is, I need to do it like right now. They go from job to job to job to job. They don't want to do nothing except, okay, I want you to buy me these $100 gym shoes. No, it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So basically, like I said, I wasn't going to keep you long, but the fact remains is God has revealed to me that he is about to restore everything that the devil stole from me. Everything. And some. And some. And I'm telling you, I'm excited because I don't know where God is taking me, but I know where I'm at right now. I'm just passing through. And I know that when God takes me from where I'm at to the palace, I'm going to have more than enough in order for me to reach out and be a blessing to others. Because God wants us to be able to bless others. He wants us to be able to reach out and be a blessing to the homeless. He wants us to be able to reach out and be a blessing to the broken woman. He wants us to be able to reach out and bless somebody that we don't even know that is struggling. You know, because sometimes our very gesture, our very presence can be a blessing to somebody else. Because we pass by people day in and day out. We have no clue of what they're going through. And just a smile from you can lift them up. Just a kind gesture. Just say, you know what, the Lord told me to bless you today and buy your groceries. I mean, you know, God is, He uses us. We are his vessels.
Amen.
We are his mouthpiece.
Amen.
It's not about us keeping everything to ourselves.
Hallelujah.
So I just want to encourage you today. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what you've been through. Know that God is able to bring beauty out of ashes. And this is how Lay Beauty for Ashes was launched, because of what I've been through. And I thank God that I did not abort in the middle of what I was going through, because I wouldn't be up here today to be able to speak to you guys about what God is able to do. And I know what God is getting ready to do, because right now I'm going to start packing, because I don't want to keep this house. I want to be able to save my money. But do I have a house? But God does. And by faith, I'm going to believe God to open up some doors and lead and guide me to the house where he would have me to go, position me to cross paths with the right people and to be in the right places at the right time, knowing God is going to bless me. He blessed me with this one. He's got another one he's going to bless me with.
Hallelujah.
So I just thank God. And God is saying, in order for you to be restored and receive what he has for you, you're going to have faith. You're going to have to have faith. You're going to have to allow your faith to catch up with the blessing that's out there waiting on you. So I just thank God. I just thank God that he put that in my spirit. He spoke that to me. And I'm going to trust and believe him. And I pray and ask God that the next time we meet, hey, you all are going to be listening to my testimony.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to be sharing with you what God has given me, what he has brought me through, what he has blessed me with. Because my mission is to be able to be a blessing to any broken woman that I come in contact with.
Amen.
To let her know she don't have to stay broken. She does not have to stay broken. That God is able to restore her in such a way that she won't even remember the hell she was going through when she was broken. Because that's how God is going to bless me.
Amen.
And if he does it for me, he's not a respecter of persons. He'll do it for each and every one of you.
Amen.
So I just want to give God all the glory, the honor, and the praise. And I thank you guys for coming,
Amen.
allowing me to share with you what God has given me.